Well, howdy. Yep, and the cat says meow. That's a good morning of sorts to you, don't you think? Uh, have you ever noticed that the cats actually have some type of language going on there? I mean, they have lots of different ways to speak. Yeah, well, okay, thanks. Good day to you too, kid. Sometimes in the morning she gets after us. And she's like, meow, 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 man, meow. And I'm like, okay, all right. So you need some water or some food or something, it's not an emergency. We'll take care of it. Um, Yesterday was another one of those staged things. Well, I certainly would like to be able to stage some events, basically make appointments with those that are wanting to be around. It's one of those things where on certain days we're doing certain things and we're going to certain places and we're getting certain things and we're doing stuff and because I'm hauling the roomie to here and there to take care of the chores and things like that. And of course, these things are all rather planned, you know, and well known in advance as to when we're leaving, and so that everyone knows that okay, the game is on, and they can all get in place. The highway can be crowded, and the places where we're going can be crowded, and all that. Now, when the game's not on, it's damned empty out there, you know. And whenever the game's really off, these streets get real empty. The highway and everything. It's like an entire population just sort of goes on a hiatus, you know. They all went on vacation at the same time. And if you want your population to increase, all you have to do is pay me, and I'll move to your city, and your population certainly will increase because there's going to be a bunch of them that follow us. Good day, howdy, how are you? Um, well, the cat says she's got something more to say. Yeah, you hear that? What? What is it? What do you have to say? Uh huh. Well, I love you too. Well, yes. I certainly do think you're the best kitty ever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Well, she thinks because I'm having a conversation with her that it might be time for the petting to begin. They always want to be petted, loved and petted. Something about cats I've always, they always want that love and being petted. And it seems like they just want to go on and never stop. Like there's nothing else in the world but to be, laying in your lap, being petted. And reminds me of a few people I know. So yesterday we went out, and whatever attacks were occurring um, really didn't mean much. We prayed before we left, and when we got to one of the destination points, which is in what I considered probably to be a bad neighborhood, which that neighborhood's going to be cleaned up sooner or later. But there were bad people showed up and came by to, to leave a little gift with us, which they'll be made to pay for ultimately. I guarantee you that. And managed to even eye me long enough for their damned anger to trigger. Isn't that funny? They were like trying to act like they're, another friendly bystander or something. But I looked at them back, and as long as they were staring at me, and then I saw it. I saw it trigger inside of them. I was like, ah. And and it's not funny. It isn't. It isn't really funny. But you know how I am. I'm going to try to make light of whatever I can. Um, because it's best, isn't it? And I mean, you know, the amusing part is that the person housing it is still there, but well, I guess it's not amusing at all. It's really a horror story because what I saw was someone who was like, trying to act friendly, even though they weren't all that friendly, and leaving us with gifts that we didn't want. Uh, but then, it triggered. It was that easy to trigger. All I had to do is stare into its eyes long enough, and it was triggered. And I wonder, later I wondered, does the original owner of that vessel have any idea how much they have been consumed by wrath? How much they became, like an NPC. I myself might be like an NPC. I don't know. After watching that Mummy movie the other day with the people showing up with the double irises and such, um, that was a cute way of saying, and you've got a demon with you or something. I mean, you can be possessed by the Holy Spirit. You could be possessed by Christ Himself. So it's the same thing. Only you're housing something good. Well, in my opinion, anyway. If it's of light and if it's of heaven, then yeah, you know what I'm saying. Not this darkness thing where, because you look at them, and I think about this now. If you were just completely objective, right, and you're looking at it from the outside and without any of the details of why people go one direction or the other, but just the results, you know, as to which one. And so you could decide where you were going to go. And one side of light, life, love, all that good stuff, you see the people progressing, and they go into a life and eventually into a world where they're all singing carols around the piano, and they're having holiday feasts and stuff and gift giving, and it's all very loving, and they're all very loving and considerate and sweet, and they think the best of each other, and they want the best for each other, and it's just really beautiful. Or you could look at it and say, oh, it's just as dull and ugly as anything could ever be, if you are of the other side, because you couldn't appreciate any of that. And so you look at the other side and you see that, well, they're all bitter and lonely and angry and can only seem to get any enjoyment out of doing something bad or seeing something bad happen to somebody, or is this not a happy or a fun place? And well, I mean, yeah, why? See, that's the thing about this darn world, is it's really not so obvious, the choices. And they keep on talking about putting me on this path to being like um, a guide, a some type of a spiritual guide or something for the um, celebrities of the world. I'm thinking, yeah, you just make me a servant of Egypt or something there, aren't you? And what can you do with them? What can you do with those that are demon possessed? And I mean, I've seen indications. There's a bunch of them out there. It's like, well, that's what I was whenever I was trying to do this, but now I want to be a real person. You see, they want, and I don't know how you can sign up with the devil and say, yeah, I'm going to sell my soul to the devil or something, quote unquote, um, and expect to get a good life. Because I mean, that's what they're after. They're after a good life. Well, in their mind, equals a good life. And that, the proverbial, well, I won't say proverbial, but the standard cliche story about people selling their souls is for what? Fame and money. You don't see them selling their souls for love, but that's what they're after. They think the fame and the money will bring them the love that they want, and or the respect that they so crave. Isn't that why they go that route? And opt for, the weird world of magic and evil Satanist people. And I just don't understand how you could ever be happy. Do you? So, anyway, we were out there. Yeah, I was digressing comfortably. Um, and so those people showed up and they sat there beside me for a moment or two. And see, that's the thing. They know where I'm going to go. They know I'm going to have to be there for a certain amount of time waiting on the people I'm hauling around. And so they're doing their thing, but it's not really a thing. And then they leave us with their stuff. It's not really a thing. And then somebody else did um, throw a bunch of stuff at us. And again, I prayed about it. And, it did take a few minutes for it to dissipate and go away, but it does. It always does and always will. And whatever the enemy places here with me won't be able to stay. If it's not the colors of heaven, if it's not those of heaven, if it's not my kind, it's not going to be able to stay. And that's what's being done. Is that's the actual process that is actually happening now. Is that we're being totally and completely separated spiritually and energetically from all those of the darkness, all those of hate, obviously. And again, everything of darkness, as far as I know, is ruled over by wrath. That he is, in fact, the king of darkness. And I, um, since wrath was removed from us and lost all place with us, all the darkness went with him, and that's the legal story of it. That's how that worked. But like I said, it seemed like it wasn't too bad out there. Now, I know one thing I will tell you that has changed a little bit since I've reconnected with some of these good stars and friends of mine from heaven and such. Um, is I've been out and I'll find myself still in my Vietnam mode. You know, Charlie's in the bush. Well, in my case, he's all around. Can you imagine you're in Vietnam, but Charlie's everywhere? He's surrounded you, and you're still fighting somehow. But anyway, they or rather, there was twice yesterday while driving that I thought to myself, well, it's not necessarily that they're the bad people trying to do the bad thing. It might have been somebody good, eh, maybe, but there's an awful lot of them around here that's not my cup of tea. And for a very long time now, about 18, 19 years, they've been, and probably all my life, it's been not what you'd call the friendliest of experiences. But it does seem still to be getting better. And I am, albeit slowly, I guess, by most people's standards, coming back online, so to speak, as a figure of speech. Uh, and an awful lot of it has to do with what has been, I'll put it to you like this. They talk about healing and all this stuff, and they go on about psychology, which is just a made-up construct. As this is being healed, as the vessel is being made stronger, and as I am being made separated once and for all, in a very final way, spiritually, energetically, from the abusers, from those that I am not, those that is not light, those that are of the darkness, which we're never supposed to be connected to like that. I am healing. It's amazing to me that, whenever, because so many times they talk about healing and they're talking about like happiness and stuff like that. Well, guess what? I'm just a big old ball of joy and happiness. The more and more I am less connected to the others, it really is. It's like, here's Mr. Sunshine. And then here's this other stuff that's just like, oh no, no. And so we're being completely separated from that. And it'll be good. And things will get a lot better. And I'll save the rest of this for a different message. So, guys, thanks again. And we'll just continue going up and becoming more and more the inaccessible, invulnerable, invincible fortress of light and life. And our body continues to ascend and elevate. Oh, yeah, I'll talk about that in a different one. I was listening to the Disney Princess yesterday. Listening to, yeah, I got a couple things to say about that. So, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a good morning.